First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer, Chris Carter.
Good morning, bro.
This is Nick Wright. We are in a very good mood after a wonderfully quiet weekend, but a great weekend here in New York City. Everyone
it's gorgeous.
In a good place this morning?
Absolutely one of the prettiest weekends of the year. It was great.
We had a nice one. Yeah, we are winding down the summer, but big weekend in the NFL to talk about, and the regular season hasn't even begun yet. Cowboys might have found a replacement for Zeke. Dak Prescott is reportedly turning down $30 million, and Antonio Brown is playing head games.
You remember back in the olden days when they changed no smoking in the building? First day they could smoke outside.
I remember that.
Oh, okay. Just
want
smoking
to
out wide receiver.
495. First show I'm doing without nicotine patch, America. We'll see how it goes.
It's going to be great. We got confidence.
He's a diva.
AB, speaking of divas, off to what some might call a rocky start with the Oakland Raiders. The 7-time Pro Bowl wide receiver has been sidelined with frostbitten feet, and as if that's not enough, this latest report, which has Brown retiring if he's not allowed to wear the helmet of his choice, the one he wore in Pittsburgh, the one which is no longer NFL approved. So how is head coach John Gruden handling all this from AB? Take a listen.
I support this guy. You know, I think that's what needs to be said. I don't know what anybody's writing or what anybody thinks, but this foot injury wasn't his fault. You know, this was a total accident. It really wasn't his fault, and it's a serious injury. I know some people are smarting at it, but it's really not a laughing matter. The guy was hurt. He was innocent. He didn't do anything wrong, and the helmet thing is a personal matter to him. You know, he has a strong feeling about what he's worn on his head, and we're supporting him. And we understand the league's position as well, so we're in a tough spot. And we hope Antonio is back here soon because he's exciting to be around. I'm excited. I got some plays for him. I hope we can start calling him.
All right. Chris Carter, you played Antonio Brown's position for many years. I don't know how many helmets you went through over the course of your career. What do you make of Antonio Brown's helmet situation?
Well, he really doesn't have a case, so I don't know what John Gruden is defending. If you look at this, what they're dealing with as far as the helmets, the technology over the last 10 years has changed so much significantly. And it's not a player safety thing, it's a player performance. Not only is the player safer now, not only anyone playing the game is safer now, but you can perform in the helmet. The technology that they have, and the NFL owners, it was collectively bargained with the players. In 2016, they spent $60 million to get the best technology to create the system that they have now, that all the players have agreed to. So in training camp, we have 2,100 players. They're in training camp. He's the only player that does not have a helmet that's in compliance. And there is every variety of helmet. They have 10 different choices. If you want light, if you want medium, if you want air, if you want compression, all those things are available to the players. And a number of years ago, they grandfathered some players in. Aaron Rodgers was in that group. Tom Brady was in that group. Larry Fitzgerald. They were grandfathered in that they would be allowed to wear their old equipment until they transition. They gave them 2 years. Now, everyone is in the new equipment. It performs better. It's better for the players.
Safer.
And it's safer. And there's no one that has a problem with this outside of AB. So I don't know what John Gruden, I don't know what type of leadership he's displaying there by supporting a player who does not have a case. When you go into an NFL locker room, they have this poster up. And that poster lets you know what you can wear and in what category these are the brands that you can wear. So AB doesn't have a case. He's going to drop this and get back playing because I know the NFL will refuse to let him practice. And yes, him being injured, the cryotherapy, yeah, whatever. As an athlete, you're responsible for your own body. He's used the machine for years, and this time, all of a sudden, he didn't have on the right equipment. So make excuses if you want to. This helmet thing will only be resolved one way. He'll change helmets. Or the NFL will not allow him to participate in any practices or any games moving forward.
And when this story broke Friday afternoon into Friday evening, if people weren't covering, weren't following it, didn't see Mike Silver's tweet thread, and they're just tuning in now, people need to understand the level of crazy that has been displayed over the last few months. Antonio Brown was told he couldn't wear this helmet, threw a temper tantrum, left practice, then came back the next day, reportedly, acted like nothing had happened, wore the new helmet. And then a few days later, came back with his old helmet, shoddily painted Raiders colors in order to try to trick people. He got sniffed out there. They kicked him out. And he is still, I mean, he tried to smuggle a poorly painted old Steeler helmet onto the Raiders practice field. Like, that happened. That's a real thing that happened during this Raiders offseason. One of the almost just, additional points of the Mike Silver story was, listen, teammates and coaches are a little annoyed that during team meetings, he seems to be liking photos on Instagram and checking his bank balance. Now, I don't know what it's like to have $25 million in the bank. I imagine it's awesome. I do feel like you'd want to look at that as often as possible. Maybe not in the middle of team meetings, but the quotes from a teammate there or a coach in that story was, the stuff in the meetings we can deal with, but the helmet stuff is crazy. And it is just continued erratic behavior from a player that I would say, starting with that Facebook Live in the locker room after a game, we just see him continuing to up the ante on unreliability. There was that. There was the alleged incident of him throwing patio furniture off a balcony and almost hitting a small child. There was the no-show, no-call with the Steelers. There's not wearing whatever he was supposed to wear on his feet, and now threatening retirement because he can't wear the helmet he wants to wear. It is, if the story came out today, Antonio Brown is traveling to the Far East to meet with the healer Andy Kaufman had, you'd be like, oh, I buy it. Like, there's no, right now, Antonio Brown's story that could be presented to me that I would say, oh, I don't believe it. I don't know what the Raiders are supposed to do. I feel like Gruden's in a tough spot in this regard. He's his highest paid player, a guy he went out and got. He wants to support him, but I don't know how you support this.
Just to give people at home context when it comes to safety, his helmet is so outdated that the company that made it discontinued making that model back in 2011. It's not like they discontinued it last year. This was years ago that they stopped making that. So with everything that Nick laid out, with the coming into camp with the feet, with the coming in a hot air balloon, drawing more attention to himself, it has this feel of this chaos already surrounding camp on a team where they would love to try to get everybody on the same page. He had one practice so far. He hasn't even really taken the field to practice with Carr or anyone else on that offense. How bad is the situation in Oakland?
Well, this is just the beginning. It will get worse. The reason why, Facebook Live in the video. Ultimately, Pittsburgh Steelers decided to give him a contract extension after that. So, bad behavior rewarded with a new contract. Now, John Gruden got a 10-year deal. He trades for him, and they give him a new contract. So he gets rewarded again after quitting on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only winner this weekend is Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger, some of those other players there in Pittsburgh who've been trying to, necessarily not tell the truth, because that's what you do when you're in team sports. When you leave that locker room, you don't go out and reveal all the things about a person. I wouldn't expect anyone to do that about me, and I wouldn't do that about someone else. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, they weren't wrong. This is why they had to trade him. This is just the beginning, and to me, it undermines the overall authority of John Gruden. It's hard to be a leader when you can't be consistent in your messages. Man, I watch Hard Knocks. That was not good. I don't know who's controller of that football team. And him talking about, I got some good plays designed for him. Well, as long as he's out, the team can be fined. The player won't be able to participate. So the Raiders are losing in this, in something they need for AB to act like an adult. Forget about his performance. 6 years, 100 catches, 1,200 yards. We can't talk about it. Why? Because he makes the ultimate diva move. I won't play if you don't let me play with my blankie.
I'll take my helmet and go home, is what he said. And
well, the league told him to go home.
Right. Right. If I can't play with my helmet, I won't play anymore. And this is going to sound like an extreme question, but given the facts we have in evidence over the last year or so, And given that Antonio Brown said in a television interview with ESPN a few months ago, quote, "I don't have to play. I want the game, but I don't need the game." It is a fair question to ask, does Antonio Brown want to play football anymore? And if he does, why is he acting this way? If he doesn't, and if this is a backdoor out of it, so be it. But this is, how much...
I could answer that, Nick. He wants to play ball. And you know the reason why? Because he likes the attention. And by the way, he's got a number of kids that require money. So he'll be playing for the Raiders this year. I got no doubt about it. And where's he going to get the attention? Where else is he going to be able to do this except for in the NFL?
Maybe just an idle threat by Antonio Brown, but it has certainly caused a lot of chaos. And a great lead to our show today. We have a lot more coming up.
Listen, AB, if I can do this show without a nicotine patch, you can play football without your old helmet. Anything can be done.
I have to sit next to him, so you're actually in a better position, Antonio Brown. Coming up, have the Cowboys found Zeke's replacement? That's next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM. We'll be right back. You good?
No. No. Not at all.